questions?
Yeah.
So lands produce mana. You use mana to cast your spell. We'll figure it out.
As we go. Let's just play a game.
It's pretty intuitive. It's pretty intuitive. You'll get that.
All right. Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, everyone.
Hello, and welcome to another Edge of Eternities League team draft. Going up against Tezzeret's Flooding Crew. Pack one, pick one. We see, I like the Cobb Landseeker quite a bit. Tractor Beam and Sunstar Lightsmith are obviously also quite strong. I really love a Perigi Beckoner as well. This really came down to how comfortable I was putting a Mutinous Massacre into the hands of the opposing team. There are a few strong cards here. I think, Tractor Beam is somewhat of a standout, Sunstar Lightsmith as well. But Mutinous Massacre being something that I would rather not have to play against if possible. I think it is still very powerful, even if it's, rather expensive. And a couple of solid removal spells here with the Dubious Delicacy and the Orbital Plunge. Not too much else noteworthy here, but I think Delicacy in general is just the better of those two, and probably just the best card in this pack. So snap it up and consider being Rakdos myself and playing this Massacre. The Sunstar Expansionist is quite strong. The Hull Carver is solid. Biosynthetic Burst is pretty good. Plasma Bolt's okay. It's a removal spell. But, in terms of standouts, I think it's the Emissary Escort. I think that thing can be really, really strong and annoying, hard to deal with. And seeing one pick 3 seems the most signally sort of thing to me, especially following up a pack with, a couple of solid blue cards. The Vocalist is a decent blue rare, I think. So, there's a couple of playable Rakdos cards in here, but still being this early in the draft, I'm going to lean towards what I think might be most likely to get paid off. So go with the Escort here. Pick 4, we see a Territorial Bruntar, which is a big body that gives value, needs to be answered. Pretty much exactly what I'm going to be looking for in a team draft in general. Lots of red cards in general in that pack. So again, looking for red and blue to be potentially the most open color combination so far. Of course, it's still very early. Pick 5 is certainly a little, or significantly lower on the power level here. I take the Infiltrator here, which I think I would probably still do again, though I have to say I've put Infiltrator in a few decks at this point, and it hasn't performed very well for me overall. Here we see another Bruntar. Starbreach Whale is an Eniform Sentinel are also solid blue cards. I think if I were to do this pick again, I would probably take Bruntar number 2. I've been, these last couple of team drafts, I've been maybe prioritizing the small game a little bit too much. The cheap things that don't, in general, it's I think a pretty good strategy to go after the premium cheap cards as a general heuristic in draft. But problem is in this format, most of the cheap cards just aren't very impactful, and they are very interchangeable. Whereas Territorial Bruntar has a pretty big impact on the game. Pick 7, we see Hymn of the Faller, which is a 2-for-1, notable for that reason. Thawbringer is a solid green creature, but I'll just take the solid blue creature instead with the Surveil Whale. Pick 8, nothing super notable here. The Automaton Torpedo is not, of course, the most premium of removal options, but sometimes in a 6-player pod, you just kind of have to take what you can get in terms of interaction. And there's not much else notable here. There's the blue equipment that can save a creature, but it's something you can kind of, a blue deck doesn't necessarily need to have a copy of those. The Plasma Bolt here, pick 9, is slightly surprising to me, and once again, something of a signal. There have certainly been black cards being passed to me, like this Dirgecraft here, which, not the greatest thing ever, but I think spacecraft being, in general, 2-for-1s is makes most of them more playable in a team draft than otherwise. But yeah, here again, prioritizing the cheap little cards instead of the oversized effects, which I think does come back to bite me a little bit in the gameplay. See, I'm also, now that I have this Ilvoy Infiltrator, I am also looking to, for cheaper spells that I can more easily double spell with. So I think it's affecting my draft picks, beyond just the Infiltrator being not as premium of a card as I thought it was. It's also making me pick things that might not necessarily be correct. So we're pretty solidly Grixis, specifically blue-red, if we can help it. So seeing a Cryogen Relic is quite welcome, of course. Cut Propulsion can be played, it's just fine, but got to take a Pinnacle Emissary if I'm already looking to be, if my strongest cards are in Is It, just take this really nice Is It rare and pretty much just lock it in at this point. Sad to pass the only Cryogen Relic that I'm going to see in this draft, I think, but so it goes. It's another Whale, Kov Landseeker, Pinnacle Killship, another Infiltrator. I do think that the Kov Landseeker plays really, really nicely in team draft, just as, the 2-for-1 with the lander. 4/3 Menace is actually a pretty significant body and kind of above rate in this particular setting. So I picked them up pretty aggressively. We see certainly a stronger pack here. A Banishing Light, Honor, Auxiliary, Boosters, or whatever. Some solid white cards, but Uthrocyanocyst is just a really nice blue uncommon. So we get another Infiltrator. They're just flying around the table. Obviously, other people not prioritizing them as highly as I did, and correctly so, I'm sure. And yeah, here, after picking up the Pinnacle, whatever, the rare, and Scion Assist with an Infiltrator, I am, at this point, I care about artifacts and I care about double spelling. So I'm going to be looking for cards that advance those game plans. And so while I'm not very excited about picking up the Galeblade pick 4, I think it's fits in the best with the game plan that I'm working on so far. Passing some pretty decent green and white cards, but that ship has sailed, I think. And again, I do like a Melted Moxite, and it is actually one of the stronger cards in this pack, which is not saying a ton, of course. But it's just been pretty important to fix draws in the early game, pitch lands, and find action in the late game. It's good for double spelling. It's an artifact that makes an artifact. It makes a lot of sense here. Again, a pretty underwhelming pack. So I'll just take the artifact out of it. I think that's my first spacecraft. Certainly would have played the Pinnacle kill ship that I had to pass earlier. We'll be on the lookout for another one. Here, another pack just kind of full of stuff that's not for me. Second Slag Drill Scrappers, certainly not something I'm excited to scoop up here. Radiant Strike is a decent piece of interaction, but not something I would be super excited about splashing. A couple of solid black cards right up front there. Cloud Sculpt Technician, which is, again, nothing to write home about, but it's not like these black cards are worth jumping ship for, so I'm just going to take it. Here I think might be my most regretted pick of the draft. I didn't realize until the end of the draft that I just didn't have very many big creatures or big artifacts to sort of go with my, my one in a blue star 4. I forget the name of them sometimes. So, I had just never put a galvanizing saw ship in a deck up to this point, so didn't feel like I had to prioritize it very highly. And, it's in the same pack as another red, a comparable red 5-drop, so I thought there was a chance that one of them might come back, and if I even wanted to play either of them. But I think the saw ship there, just being a big relevant body. It's a late focus fire going there. Pick 11 to Aurelian on my right. Kind of a bummer. Just going to take the blue artifact here, I think. Again, this is not something I've ever put in a deck before. Yeah, I guess I just have a good read that Aurelian is in white, so might as well just hate pick a couple of things from him over stuff that's never going to make the cut in my deck anyway. not that hate picking a mediocre 3-drop is going to make that much of a difference, of course. Last pack here. See a Nebula Dragon, Cryo Shatter, Melt Strider's Resolve, and Faller's Faithful, and the another Nebula Dragon, and another Mutinous Massacre. At this point, it's I don't know. It seemed unlikely to me that the opponent to my left would be in Rakdos, since I had been on the lookout for any good red cards in the last couple packs. So I feel more comfortable passing the Mutinous Massacre this time around. Here we see a couple of more premium 2-drops here. The Umbral Collar Zealot, of course, being the best of them, but Zookeeper Mechan is going to be quite good for me. So go ahead and snap it up. Terrapact Intimidator is very strong. Starwinder, I think can be okay. Depressurize and Grav Kill in the same pack here. I don't think I have a very good Starwinder deck, though. I think you want to have some spacecraft that you care about stationing quickly. At this point, I'm doing really well on playables, so I take the Creeping Tar Pit with the idea that it will help me splash the Dubious Delicacy that I picked up early. Geekstorm Titan is an easy pickup here. I really need some stats on the board. And that's one of the better ways to do it in blue. It's another Sentinel, Mechan Navigator, fairly similar, comparable blue cards. I'm just going to take the 2-drop over the 3-drop. So yeah, I had a couple of things that ended up caring about. I'm just going to take Drill Too Deep as a solid sideboard option here. Ended up having a couple things like that cared about creature tapping, and just didn't, another reason that it would have been nice to pick up the Galvanizing Sawship earlier. Just didn't. The Station Moderate wheeled there. Kind of surprising. But I do think I need the Nebula Dragon. It's really not my favorite card, but yeah, seeing the Warplate Pangolin on the wheel here too, that's another, pretty premium 2-drop. A little surprising seeing Focus Fire and Depressurize still in this pack, but I think that was one of the stronger packs of the entire draft, probably. Seeing the Skywarden here reminds me that I didn't wheel either of the red 5 and 6 drops that I was expecting to in pack 2. But so it goes. Winding down here on a, just fairly weak pack 3. Could just take a random green 2-drop or this combat trick that's never going to make my deck. It's another Cloud Sculpt Technician, which, it's like obviously not the most exciting thing, but any flyer is going to be a little more playable than usual in a team draft setting, so worth considering. Going to the build here, I still think this looks fairly solid, objectively. Nothing too busted or anything, but some interaction, good creature count, decent curve, some okay sideboard options. This is Mike's Gruul deck with a Bonder's Enclave that does some good work. A little light on interaction, or on non-creature spells, I should say, but doesn't really matter sometimes. Some games you just get it done, and this is Alex's Simic deck with the nice Simic rare there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. Possible to play the Wrath? Oh, it's double black, huh?